What's up, y'all? Made it to Thursday? Good. Perfect. Because y'all gonna watch this shit here with me. This video is called Disturbing Interviews with Evil People Caught on Camera. And it was uploaded by Most Amazing Top 10? Something like that. Something like that. But either way, I ain't gonna hold you up. Let's get into the video. Like, comment, definitely subscribe. And yeah, let's see what Jeffrey Dahmer got to say.
A towering killer who knew exactly how dangerous he was. A wilderness drifter who finally confessed on camera just because he was about to die. And a guy who stood in front of news cameras pretending to be shocked when the body in the creek was his own mom. These are disturbing interviews with evil people caught on camera. Edmund Kemper was and still is a pretty intimidating looking guy, standing at 6'9", and that combined with his above average IQ.
He said he look intimidating. He look intimidating to y'all? Oh, he look I'll be done slap his goddamn glasses on the floor or something. Like, intimidating to who? Y'all must be, because it ain't me. The fuck?
IQ and his calm demeanor means this guy was incredibly dangerous, as he could lure his victims in and take advantage of them with his size. And in interviews, which there are plenty of, that calm, dare I say it, engaging personality really comes through, and that is very scary.
It started with surrogates at a non-human level. Physical objects, my possessions, other people's, destruction of things that are cared about, and then it's destruction of things that are living on a lower level, small animals, insects, animals, and then finally people.
Known as the co-ed killer, he targeted female college students in the early 70s, usually hitchhikers, then did things so horrific to their bodies afterward, it's just better left unsaid. What makes his interviews so chilling is how casually he talks about all of this stuff. And asked why he started, Kemper said, "I just wondered what it would be like to shoot grandma." He was 15 years old when he did exactly that, taking out both grandparents just to see how it felt. Later in a
both grandparents? Why? You couldn't have choose nobody else? Your own grandparents, nigga? The fuck? Bitch, I slapped them damn Mr. Egg glasses off your fucking head.
In an interview with FBI agents, Kemper calmly described what he did to his mother, and he made one of the most chilling statements I've ever heard.
I cut off her head, and I humiliated her corpse.
What's really eerie about Kemper, aside from how...
What does that mean? What do you mean humiliated? Like what? Matter of fact, I don't even want to know. That's disgusting, nigga. Where they from? Alabama? Come on now.
Damn normal he sounds while talking about some of the most twisted things you can imagine is how oddly self-aware he is in his interviews. He's so self-analytical, so different from guys like Charles Manson who just come off like these unhinged lunatics. Kemper once said he knew he was a walking time bomb. He knew exactly how dangerous he was, but he didn't hide from it. It's one thing to commit horrific acts, it's another to know what you're doing is evil and to just accept and embrace it anyway. Gary Michael Hilton just recently confessed on camera to a crime everyone pretty much knew he was responsible for, but he'd never actually come out and said it. Known as the National Forest serial killer, Hilton used his survival skills to hide in plain sight while targeting people in remote parks across multiple states. His crimes stretched from Georgia to
Georgia, bitch, see? That's why you will never catch lady camping. No bullshit like that. Hell fucking no. I'm good. And I just clicked something. Like, no. Absolutely not. That's, Never. Never.
Parks across multiple states. His crime stretched from Georgia to Florida to North Carolina, and yet for years no one connected the dots. Hilton finally broke his silence in an interview at 78 years old, saying simply, "It's time." Staring right into the camera, he admits to something he denied for 17 years.
I'm gonna give you a news scoop. I did it.
We know.
So there you have it.
You did it.
Yes, I'm confessing to a murder on camera.
When asked why now, his response was just because I'm going to die soon. He also had no issue labeling himself. Sort of. When the interview asked if he was a psychopath, Hilton replied, no. Sociopath? He said, I have part of that in me. And when the term serial killer was brought up, he just missed it, just saying it was no big deal, or a dime a dozen. In June of 2018, Matthew Haverly stood in front of local news cameras outside his home in Bradford County, Pennsylvania. A body had been discovered in a nearby creek, and reporters were gathering interviews with residents to get their reactions.
I can't even admire the damn water and shit because they talking about a damn body was discovered there. Like, come on now.
Really gave the impression of a guy just as shocked as everyone else, casually throwing around theories and going into all this detail about how it was probably a hit and that it would be a good place to dump a body.
It would be like a place where people from the city would want to put a body because most likely they wouldn't be found.
He even addressed how
the whole time he has this slight smirk on his face. He's just saying way too much. He's attempting to rock a mohawk, except he's balding. The guy would just be on my list of suspects immediately, and unsurprisingly, it turned out he killed the woman in the creek. What was surprising was that it was his own mother. Authorities later determined she'd been struck in the head and dumped in the creek behind their home. He ended up pleading no contest to charges including involuntary manslaughter, tampering with evidence, and more. Gary Ridgway, dubbed the Green River Killer, targeted women in Washington state from the early 80s to the late 90s. He'd pick up women, earn their trust, and then take their lives in secluded areas. Ridgway later admitted that he chose his victims carefully, often.
His face is unsettling. Like, hold on.
Gary Ridgway, dubbed the Green.
Like, why are you looking at me like that? And did he dye his beard?
River Killer targeted women in Washington state from the early 80s to the late 90s. He'd pick up women, earn their trust, and then take their lives in secluded areas. Ridgway later admitted.
Look, yeah, they got hair dye in jail now? Is it free? Like, look, it's blonde or something, right? I mean, I am kind of blind. My astigmatism might be messing up or something.
Admitted that he chose his victims carefully, often targeting those less likely to be reported missing right away. In his interviews, what's most disturbing isn't just what he says, it's how casually he says it. At one point, Ridgway admits he used a photo of his son to get his victims.
He looked like a damn college professor or a high school science teacher or something. Like, yeah. I might go do background checks at school. I'll be back.
To feel comfortable.
Every time I opened up my wallet, there would be a picture of my son on one side, behind my ID. Here's my ID. I hide my name, and they'd see that, and that would lower any big defenses.
In another moment, he describes a time he picked up a woman while his son was sleeping in his car. I killed her, he says flatly, and I'm real sure my son didn't see it. Ridgway confessed to so many killings, he said he lost count. Some believe the real number may be as high as 90. Cora Ridgway showed little emotion, except when the families of his victims spoke, and even then, it was hard to tell if it was real remorse or just a show.
What is this?
In this video, a man named Robert Pickton is seen in his jail cell boasting about his heinous crimes. And what crimes were those? Well, let me just start by saying that Robert Pickton's case doesn't even sound like something that happens in real life. It just seems too gruesome to be real. A pig farmer in British Columbia, Canada, Pickton was found to be behind a series of unspeakable crimes. It started with the disappearances of women, many of them working in the downtown east side area of Vancouver. Eventually, Pickton's farm, a large isolated piece of land, became the focal point of the investigation. When a search was carried out in 2002, they found human remains. Some were identified, others were found mixed into meat he'd make sausages with.
Oh, is that's like that, maybe that game that I was playing Well, that was a long time ago. It was based on him. Well, no, because... What was it? Let me know. It's a video game. I can't even remember the name of it. It's so old, but... And he was... Something like that. I don't know.
Since parties, which he often threw on the farm, had become a major red flag. He'd lure women there, usually street workers, and a lot of them would never leave. He was convicted of 6 crimes in 2007, but it's believed that Picton may have been responsible for far more than he was charged with. Authorities didn't have enough evidence to convict him on those, though. I'd never heard of this guy until today, Samuel Little. Turns out he's one of America's most prolific serial killers, and man, the way he describes his crimes is chilling. He sounds like this friendly grandfather telling stories about his younger days. He has this inviting smile, he makes jokes, he comes off as such a pleasant guy. Really nuts. And it also makes sense. It's how he was able to charm his victims before killing them.
My legs and pull her to the
He do like
water.
somebody granddaddy.
That's the only one that I ever killed by drowning.
So Samuel Little killed
he
women
said
across
it
the
so
United States
fucking
from like the 70s to the
Like,
mid 2000s.
Grandpa, tell me a bedtime story. And he just telling me that, like, damn, can I get a war story? I'd rather that. Because what the fuck is this?
He took so many lives. 5 years back, this series of prison interviews were released where he was talking about several of his crimes and the victims, most of which were women. He was convicted of 8 killings, but confessed to 93. He died in 2020.
I was living there?
Yeah, Lauren was my neighbor. We're just trying to find out where she is at this point. I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday.
Stephen McDaniel was a law student. He had a major crush on his neighbor, Lauren Giddings, a crush that soon became an obsession. Giddings went missing in June of 2011, and during an interview with a local reporter, Daniel speculated about her disappearance as though he were just another concerned citizen. But after hearing that a body had been found during the investigation, McDaniel's face went cold, and he had to sit down. Now, this alone didn't raise any red flags. He knew the victim, so finding out that her lifeless body was found just outside your apartment, that would be shocking for anyone. But McDaniel was concerned for a whole other reason. McDaniel had killed her. Authorities later searched his apartment, where they found evidence linking him directly to Giddings' death, like videos taken outside her window. Later, he confessed to strangling and dismembering her body.
Oh, you would quickly get
the last time anyone heard from her was an
here
email that she
doing
sent out,
creepy shit
and
like that.
no one's heard from her since.
I've probably done anything a man would want to do with a woman. Obviously, I must be sick somehow.
That is Richard Francis Cunningham, aka the Torso Killer and the Times Square Ripper. Operating mainly in New York and New Jersey during the 60s and 70s, Cunningham targeted women in ways that were deliberately gruesome, earning his nickname because of how he left a lot of the scenes. Again, this is another one of those killers who sounds so nonchalant when describing all the vile things they did, and talking about his double life. Respectable family man by day, something entirely different by night. He openly admits that he used his charm to get close to people, before turning into someone completely unrecognizable. In this clip, the interviewer asks Richard why he removed a certain body part from one of his victims, and this was his response.
To do something different. I mean, she was already dead. I mean, it wasn't something that she was alive. And I wanted to create a sensationalism.
Stephen Port might not look like the kind of person you'd expect to end up on a list like this, which is exactly what made him so dangerous. On the surface,
from the, 2.5 Men. What was that man name? And he was on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Y'all know who I'm talking about. I just don't know his name. Not Charlie Sheen, the tall one that married Alan ex-wife. Y'all know who I'm talking about. That one.
He was a quiet, unassuming chef living in London, but between 2014 and 2015, he was secretly targeting young men through dating apps, luring them in with lies before taking their lives, performing heinous acts on the corpses, and leaving their bodies nearby, sometimes right outside his own building. In police interviews, he comes off nervous but weirdly casual, constantly changes his story, insisting he just found the body. At one point he says, "He was just lying there. I didn't know what to do." over and over, painting himself as this clueless bystander. But the biggest gut punch is that police initially believed him. For months he got away with this, even though the deaths were happening in the same area under suspiciously similar circumstances. When the truth finally came out, it turned out he'd tampered with evidence and lied repeatedly to cover his tracks. The interviews with him are hard to watch, not because he's angry or aggressive, but because he's emotionless, even when describing the moments after each victim died.
Did you write this letter, CRT 11?
No, did the
Photos of it is found with Daniel.
Arthur Shawcross, also known as the Genesee River Killer, is one of the most unsettling interview subjects ever recorded, and I know that sounds like something people just say. I really mean it in this case. He talks about taking people's lives like he's reading off a shopping list. In one interview, when asked about his victims, he shrugs and says, "I just snapped." That phrase comes up again and again as if it somehow explains everything. Here he is talking about what one of his victims tasted like.
Take a fresh ham, a roast pork, and it's the butt end where it's a little burnt. That's what you taste like.
He describes the acts in graphic detail, almost as if he's proud of them at points, and then immediately he'll change the subject to like trivial stuff like food or movies. It's very jarring, but through it all, there's never any emotion, no reflection. He's just completely flat and cold. Shawcross claimed he had a troubled past and tried to blame his actions on brain damage, but psychologists who have interviewed him says that he shows classic signs of manipulation and just lacks empathy. Watching him talk, it's clear he wasn't out of control, he just didn't care. And that is far more terrifying. With all that said, I've been your host, James. I'll catch you, yes, you specifically.
Thank you, James. Back to you, lady. Okay. Well, more of the story. Ladies, men, and men's men. Be careful out here in these streets. Niggas crazy. And women. We ain't had none on this list, but they out there too. They fool too now. Trust me. I know. They fool. Alright. But alright, y'all. Like the video, comment, definitely subscribe. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Bye, y'all.